Welcome, everyone, to the Be the Glue series, where we share short and casual, but really impactful conversations with individuals who have been the glue. They bring people together, ideas together, efforts, communities. They do something meaningful, and they really, are in the trenches when navigating change. So today, I am joined by Hope Breen, the founder of Rock the City with Hope. And Hope is a natural connector, a longtime connector in our community. So welcome, Hope. I'm really excited to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
So now, Hope, as you think about your work, through storytelling, tourism, and even local media, what does glue mean to you?
I think that living in such a small community, I love being able to be a connector. And when someone is looking for something, being able to provide some sort of suggestion to connect them with what they're looking for. Whether they're looking for a new restaurant to go to, or they're looking for maybe somebody to hire, being that person to be like, oh my gosh, I met so and so at a recent event, or oh my gosh, I just checked out this coffee shop. Like, you would love it. You should go check it out. So, being able to bring the community together just by continually working to meet new people.
So tell me, how did the idea of Rock the City with Hope kind of came about? What's your journey?
So originally, I was at school at MCC for tourism. I picked tourism because I wanted to be a Disney princess at Disney
I
World.
love
And I was like, well, maybe I'll like perform on cruise ships, after that. So I was like, yeah, tourism, that sounds good. And then fast forward, I did not ever get accepted to Disney. I applied 4 times. They would not hire me, even to be a janitor. They would not hire me to do anything. So everything works out, I guess, the way it's supposed to. But I ended up interning with Visit Rochester, which is the local tourism agency that advertises the area to out of towners to come in as tourists. So I worked at the Lilac Festival. I did 80 hours there. I was at Jazz Festival, Cornhill Arts Festival. I was at the airport. And when my internship wrapped up, I was like, wait a second, I had a lot of fun telling people about things to do in Rochester. So that wrapped up in May. And I was trying to figure out, what I could do next. And then in July, my mom was like, what if you start a blog and you call it Rock the City with Hope? Get it? Because like rock and hope and the city. And she was like, this is the best thing ever. So my first video was at the Pittsford Wegmans, which at the time was the number one tourist destination
it.
in
Wow.
Rochester. And since then, it's been 8.5, almost 9 years. I just hit over 1,000 posts on Instagram of telling people things to do around Rochester, and have built a community of 58,000 local followers. So,
Well, so the followers include individuals, businesses. So it's a
yep.
mix of local and I'm assuming even out of towners that maybe are visiting our area.
Yes, a lot of people actually start following me and have DM'd me that they maybe had a job offer in Rochester, or they were looking to move out of state and weren't sure where to go, and they settled on Rochester after finding my account.
That is so wonderful. Look at
There's
you.
been
You're
multiple
connected.
people who have DM'd me that. It always blows my mind.
Wow. So what, I mean, how do you do this? How do you find the places? Is that a secret or is that your secret sauce?
No, it's not a secret. I have an obsession with tourist centers. So for a while when I was getting started, I stopped at every single tourist center. Visit Rochester has one over on East Ave. There's tourist information at the airport. There's one in Geneva. So it's like a running joke in my family. They knew if there was a tourist center somewhere that we were stopping, so I could pick up every single pamphlet. And then again, Visit Rochester and other organizations create travel guides that, they'll send out of state, but then if people come in, they'll have on available over at hotels and things like that. So that was really how I started learning, was just picking up every single piece of information and then staying up to date on local news anytime that there's a place opening up. And honestly, the most one that gets the most traction is me just taking different routes home and like forcing myself to drive different ways. And oh my gosh, I didn't know that there was a coffee shop there. I didn't know that a new boutique had opened there. And just working to, see the city from different perspectives has helped too.
Do you also promote events or like things that are happening? I'm assuming, yes, right? Like, so of course, the events that are happening in Rochester, but are there like women's events or other like organizations that maybe are putting events together that your audience can benefit from?
So I'm involved with the Next Level Collective and Bossy, which are two women's networking events. Involved with Stella,
Hmm.
and my schedule's changed a little bit, so I haven't been able to go to as many things with them recently, but I love being able to go to those different events for women specifically. And then in the summer, when it's festival season,
Yep.
hitting up Lilac Festival, Cornhill Arts Festival, Jazz Fest. So
Oh, I hope to see you at Greek Festival this year. That would be
I've never
fun.
been. I want to go so bad. It's one of those things that it's always on a weekend where it's crazy. So I'll have to put it on
Yes.
my calendar early this year.
Yes. Yeah, let me know. For 4 days there. So it's so much fun. We bring our Greek culture and community out, and it's a lot of fun. Understand. Yeah.
Awesome.
So tell me, so my audience is a lot of HR professionals and small business owners. So help me a little bit with like why is local visibility, like why does that matter more than just viral reach? What, is there like something for local businesses to think about their visibility intentional and being intentional about it?
So there's a couple different local businesses that I've talked with who have gone viral, but they didn't gain a single follower from their video that had 1 million views. So it's like, that's great that many people viewed, but if people aren't coming in and spending money, it's not benefiting you. So, working with local creators like myself, there's a handful now, more and more are popping up, which I think is awesome that there are so many people working to promote our community. But I think at the end of the day, if you're a brick and mortar, especially, and your target market are people who are here in the community, it's better to quote unquote on paper it looks like maybe it's less people, but if it's actually more people in your community who have that spending power to come and spend money and patronize, it is way more important and valuable than having a million people see it and not being able to do anything. I had a video go viral last year about, do you know about the Dachshund parade that happens every year, like
No,
the
tell
weenie
me more.
dogs? There's a weenie dog parade that happens every single May in Rochester.
What?
I had a video the last 2 years has gone viral talking about it. It was on Yahoo News. But last year, like 90% of the views ended up in like Sweden and Germany, which was very cool.
That's
But
cool. Yeah.
I don't know how many people from Sweden and Germany are going to fly for the Dachshund Parade. So we'll see. It's usually in May. It's like the first or second weekend. I can't remember offhand, but it's at Washington Square Park outside
Okay.
of Jiva Theater. And they're all dressed up, and they had an award, I think, for the oldest dachshund that was there. The furthest traveled the year that I went, I think the furthest traveled was from Alaska.
Wow.
So
Oh, my kids are going to
people
love
come
it.
from all over. It's so cool to go and watch.
That is cool. What are some other cool things that you have, shared, promoted, or been at in our local community that it kind of happens yearly and it's fun to attend?
First that comes to mind isn't necessarily annual, but I don't feel like a lot of people know about it, is Kodak Center. So most people know
Yep.
that they'll come and have different performances come through, but the lobby is actually the Kodak Visitor Center. And you can go in, and it's a mini museum. It's free to attend. I think it's open 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. And George Eastman has a Hollywood star that is on display that you can see. And it walks through the history of Kodak. They invented way more than just photography equipment and film. They also invented like gauze and fish oil, like not necessarily inventing fish oil, but like the pill form. So all these
Interesting.
things that
Yeah.
looking at, and I think especially from an HR perspective, it's interesting because They talk through the workplace culture of Eastman Kodak there. And
Oh,
they had like a baseball team. They at one point had like specific neighborhoods designated to Kodak employees. So that I think is something that is really interesting as a local to be able to see the impact that George Eastman had on the community. Another favorite annual thing is coming up in February at the George Eastman Museum is Dutch Connection. When it is freezing and gross outside, they fill the Eastman Museum with tulips. And it feels like you're in Holland, and it feels like,
wow.
spring is coming, regardless of whether the groundhog sees a shadow or not. And I do appreciate winter the older I get and the snow, but I know by the end of February, March, I'll be like, okay,
It's
are we done
time.
yet?
It's
Time for
time.
some lilacs and zweigels.
It's time. So, do you see, you know, do you see businesses using social media a lot more for the reach, or are they using more of email marketing? Do you see differences there, or a preference, or
I think that more people are using social media marketing. I think it is more beneficial to make sure they're also investing in email marketing.
Hmm.
So I don't personally have a brick and mortar, but from what I've heard from other business owners, you can get emails from Square. So as people use their credit card and there is an email attached to that credit card, you can use those emails to send information about your business. The stat on return on investment for email marketing is like for every dollar you spend is a $37 return on investment, which
Oh,
is
wow.
insane. So, working on building up that email list, I think when people open up their email, they're ready to buy. They're able to like
Oh,
be a little bit more intentional with what they're reading versus like scrolling through social media really quick, in between meetings or just like, wanting to like zone out for a second. I think that they're more ready to make purchases when they're in their email.
oh, that's interesting. So, with what are some ways people build their email marketing? I mean, if I get
So
the brick and mortar, that's a great idea for from the Squarespace. What are some other ways for even online businesses locally?
So you'll see a lot of places when they say like put in your email for 15% off. That is, I would say, probably the number one way that most retailers will use. If you're a service-based business providing some sort of freebie that people can download. So I've done things like a Christmas lights guide. I did a Henrietta restaurant guide, and that was just looking at a whole of information that I was like, I really wish that this was here. So creating it and then it resonating with people. So if there's a DM that you always get that people ask you, I know that I've reached out to photographers. I needed to have some pictures taken and was going to be doing a news interview. And I was like, I have no idea what to wear. I know that you have an opinion. Do you have any sort of like freebie? And they were like, I don't, but that's a good idea. I was like, please put something together. So don't think too hard. Think about whatever questions are the most common that you get, putting together some sort of like 3-page Canva template. It does not have to be super in depth. And then on your website, just creating a landing page, name, email, and then they get that sent to them. Jenna Kutcher is a podcaster, social media educator, and she has free courses. That's like a 5-day challenge, 0 to 250 email list build. And that is how I learned all of my email marketing education. So I definitely would recommend her and her free options to get that
I
started.
love her. I love her. I've attended a couple of her courses, so yeah, we'll tag her too. So she's awesome. She has a lot on both on Instagram, Facebook, and I believe in even LinkedIn. She does.
Mhm.
Yeah. Wow. So, what are some ideas that people can build on their socials?
I think that the number one most underrated way to build on your socials, especially if you are looking to connect with people locally who are going to patronize your business, I beg people to tag the location in every single post and please make it easy for people to buy from you.
Hmm.
So in your bio, I need you to read it with eyes like nobody knows anything about your business. Are they going to be able to buy from you based on the information in your bio? If it just is like artisanal bread, but it doesn't say like in Rochester, New York, or like it doesn't even necessarily have to have your hours, although I think that's helpful. But putting in information, like we mentioned, like posts go viral. And if they go and are looking at your profile and it's taking them a long time to figure out where you are, how to buy from you, people have an attention span that is less than a goldfish now. So do not make them work hard to buy from you, please. Please tag your location. I think that that helps with like the weight of a post and keeping it in the algorithm. And then in your bio, making sure that it is easy to buy from you, putting your website, making sure your website is up to date. And again, is making it easy for people to come and buy from you.
Wow, I can even think. So my mom has a home bakery, and it's like a full retail bakery too, because it has like 2 exits, and but it's like commercial. And I've been trying to like really build the page, and it's interesting what you just said, because I'm like making it easy to buy. It is so important. And now I'm thinking in my head, I don't think it's easy to buy. So what is she go back and look at that website again and look at her social media and her Instagram. So you're definitely putting me into thoughts now as like and giving me homework to like go look at her.
Yeah, looking at it from the perspective of if I had no idea about this business, would I be able to easily buy?
Love it. What other tips? Any other tips for like small businesses? And then also, where can they find you?
Other tips, I think that there's a lot of chatter about like, TikTok, I don't think TikTok is the new thing anymore. I think there are a lot of people on TikTok, but where should I be? I think it's better to be in few places and show up regularly and build your audience than worrying about being in every single place. If you're on Instagram and easily can set it up where it posts to Facebook and Threads, then great. Make sure that you're going through and doing those things. I think that it's more important to be able to show up wherever you're going to show up consistently, if that's once a week, to be able to do that than worrying about Blue Sky and Lemonade and all these other ones that keep popping up and will continue to pop up.
Yeah.
So that, and then this is like a weird thing for me, but as an influencer, I'll go and I'll tag people and I'm patronizing the business. I'm paying to be there. And then while I'm there sharing them, it is very bizarre to me more times than not that businesses won't thank. And I'm not saying to thank me as an influencer, but thank me as a customer. Like if I came in, you wouldn't ignore me. So it's very bizarre to me on social media when it's very common for businesses to just ignore and like not say like, thank you, or how was your visit? So I think making sure that even when you're online, like treating that customer or that person like you would if they were physically in the store, because they probably were if they're taking pictures. But that is something that I think over the last couple of years has gotten like more prevalent, where there's like absolutely, it's radio silence. It just says seen. Like,
Interesting. And where do you think that's coming from? Do you think it's a behavior change, like maybe a root to that?
I think that it's probably most people who are running small businesses have on 9,000 hats, and it probably, if it's not a fire to put out, they're not worrying about it. So that is one thing though that I think like continuing a dialogue with people and making sure that they feel welcome to continue to come is an underrated way to like foster community and foster that relationship where people are going to continue to come and patronize your business because they feel welcome there.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting that you have seen that changing. Yeah, that could be from, the busyness, the hustle culture that we're in. It could also come from the lack of understanding of social media too. the
Hmm.
importance of maybe maintaining that same level of customer service online versus in person, you know.
I also see that there are people who don't want to dedicate time to social media.
Mhm.
And I think that if you're satisfied with the amount of customers that you have, and like there's regulars who don't necessarily care about social media, and you're like content with business as is, I don't think that it's the end all be all. I think that there's a lot of people who insist that, what are you doing if you're not on social media? But if you're content with how things are, then I don't think you need to have the pressures to have all of these things going on if you don't feel like you need to dedicate the time to it.
Yeah.
So it's okay to not have, a professional social media manager. I do think that it's important to make sure that you're like checking in on it and answering DMs and like still being present. But as far as posting every day and posting 3 stories and doing this and doing that, if you're satisfied with how many people are there, I
Yeah.
wouldn't worry about it.
So how can people reach out to you or be included in your guides and be included in the things that you're sharing with your audience?
So on social media, it's at Rock the City with Hope. I'm on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Threads, Lemonade, Pinterest, YouTube, and then rockthecitywithhope.com. I have some different options on there for advertising from my email newsletter, which goes out to over 8,000 locals and has a 50% open rate. And then different social media ads that you can do. And then there's also just a section on there if you just want to stay up to date on different offerings that I have. You can just sign up and get emails as they come out.
That's awesome. And we'll put all the links at the bottom of the episode for sure. Anything you want to kind of leave the audience as to like how can they um continue using social media for being the glue or maybe, reaching others or I don't know, what are some thoughts that you might have?
I think that right now, social media can be used in a couple different ways. We're seeing a lot of bad news all over social media. So making sure that you're, protecting your peace, not doom scrolling too much, but using it as a tool, following people in communities that you want to be a part of, whether that's your local community that you want to get involved with, or there's so many online communities if you are looking to get involved with art or music or whatever else. I think it can be a beautiful vessel to connect with people online. Um, and then sometimes that works out to taking a relationship into real life
Yeah.
and building on that community. But it also can be a scary place where there's a lot of things going on. So I think making sure to be intentional with what we're sharing and continuing to be a positive light and focusing on that community aspect.
Yeah. And I feel like it's a common experiences and I think you kind of do that, right? As part of like you collecting all the different businesses, sharing what's happening in our community. It's all shared experiences as people
Mm-hmm.
are joining in person in real IRL and in real life, right? So it's through the shared experience that we can continue, allowing the community to bloom. So I love that. I love that angle. So thank you. Thank you for joining. I follow you. I'm on your DMs. I'm on your I love everything you're sharing. And I know you've promoted some of my stuff, so thank you. Um,
Thank you.
but yeah, stay connected and continue, being the glue in our community.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Hope.